This time on Graveyard Carz, Mark blocks the Hemi Charger. AMD breathes new life into the Phantom Cuda. The team moves to the new shop, and they rush to complete the drivetrain in the 383 Cuda. Coming up on this episode of Graveyard Carz.
This has been the most hectic, heart attack-inducing, insane season to date. We just got through moving into our brand new building, which is 4 times bigger than our old shop. This means we finally have the room to grow and do the work we need to do. Our favorite vendors have outfitted us to be fast, efficient, and dead-on balls accurate. We are geared up and ready to kick things into overdrive and start bringing American legends back to life. Transitioning from the old shop to the new shop is kind of bittersweet. The new shop is exciting, but the old shop is where Graveyard Carz was born. With the new shop, however, a new leaf has turned. Our beautiful Phantom Cuda that started the whole program is now back at Auto Metal Direct, getting all of its sheet metal replaced, destination Graveyard Carz, and back on the road. The guy who wrecked the car back on July 5th, 1980, I found out it got out of control when he came out of a corner and he went all the way around sideways, backwards into an embankment, crushed the left quarter, shot him across the street, crushed the left front corner. That bounced him back into the middle of the highway. Searching out the history of the car is most important for the fact that we can find missing pieces that came off of the car over the years. And we ran into the gentleman who had stored it for over 10 years at his place. While we were at his house, we happened to come across an original lower core support out of the car. Son of a gun, look at that.
Almost 30 years.
He had also stored the original 410 ring gear out of the Dana and the left rear axle. It was amazing to be able to go back to someplace 30 years later, and it's almost like stepping back in time like it was yesterday, and here's all these pieces and parts. Since my client bought it, it's been buried in the ground, it's been flooded, it's been hours on the frame rack. The car had its basic integrity. I mean, it had rust in the floors, but the rest of the panels were solid. The inner structure, the rockers, the roof inner structure. The Dutchman panel, even though it was bent up, was solid. I really ran out of time on it. That's the fact. So. With Mike's offer, they'll be able to unite this car with brand new Auto Metal Direct sheet metal. They're gonna save as much as humanly possible. That was my caveat. I'll let you do it, but what we were gonna do is save the roof inner structure, save the firewall, save the quarter inner structure, save sections of the floor where possible. Same thing for the upper cowl panel. I do not want it replaced, I want it repaired. I want people to know that Graveyard Carz brought a car back that everybody else in the world scoffed at. Everybody else in the world thought it was garbage and it was going to get total and just wash off or maybe rebodied, that we're bringing it back to life. Every car has a story. In the case of our 71 Cuda, it's either going to be the last page of the book or the beginning of a brand new chapter. While the legendary Phantom Cuda is back getting worked on by AMD, I have one more task to finish at the shop now before we start moving cars and parts and pieces over to the new building. And that is the final block on our 70 Hemi Charger. This line, this protruding line, is a style line. This one down here lower, starting on the fender down to the lower part of the door, and it fades away into nothing right here. This one, an upper line, follows out of this lower scallop. Goes here, and then you watch that line come all the way down into the quarter panel and end, pick back up here, and go to the back of the rear body panel. When you're talking about a 70 Charger, those are dear to my heart. My first Mopar I ever owned was a 1970 Dodge Charger. It was really nothing to speak of. It was a 383 two-barrel L-code car. It was burnt orange like our Hemi car. Mine had a white top, but I had burnt orange interior. I just have fond memories. I think they're one of the best styled cars, even though a lot of guys like the 68 and the 69, which I of course appreciate those. Not as much as I do the 70, the looped front bumper, the styling, so many things about that car, just when I see one instantly trigger old feelings, old emotions of when I was a kid and when I was having fun, just like we all do when we look back and see pictures of our old cars. When you're talking about this car, this burnt orange with a black top and black interior, you're talking about one of 56 cars made. Just to put the rareness into perspective, in 1970, General Motors made more Z28 Camaros than Chrysler made Hemi muscle cars from 1967 all the way through the end of them in 1971. That gives you an idea how rare when you start talking about the big elephant 426 Hemi option cars are. I just like to go through, put my lines every once in a while so I can reference them right on that mark. Hold this way out about where it's gonna go. Started there. Yep. So now I've got the top half of the door, the top half of the fender. Before you paint a car, it has to be prepped. And part of the prepping is sanding it. So if you're gonna sand the car so that you have adhesion for the paint, you might as well block sand it and make sure that the panels of the car are flat and true before you lay your paint out. So now all I'm trying to do is get from 80 out to 320 grit paper without causing any problems. We know there's no problems, but if I go Johnny Bananas on here and I just start not caring about anything going on, all that work I put into making my style lines will go away. If you want a car to turn out flat and to turn out glossy and look like a sheet of glass, that's where the cross sanding comes in, or block sanding. You're not just taking a flat block and blocking the side of the car or sanding the side of the car. You're actually going at it in a cross hatch fashion. You're coming down this way and then making an X like that. By covering those two directions, there's no low spots left. You've picked it up this way, you've picked it up this way. That way, when you stand back, you wet it down with some wax and grease remover, you got a sheet of glass. And so, as I'm sanding here, you can see the guide coat falling off, the black guide coat. You can also see these scratches, the remnants of these scratches disappear. Now I can tell as I sand if I've got a low spot. I can feel the way the paper drags. You can see that even me, this is how easy it happens. This is why I do all my checks and double checks. When I laid my tape line out, I didn't come back to the middle of the fender well and see that that's actually my line. So I'm a little bit high. I'm good at the back. You can see right here, there's my blue line. And I'm good at the front, there's my blue line. But I'm off just a hair in the middle. So I'll retape that and I'll just hit that real quick. When I talk about guide coat, I'm just talking about a product that you can put on the panel that we know is going to stay down in the low spots so you can shave the top off until you meet it. Some guys like the powder, which I've used in certain cases. I prefer the spray. It's just a rattle can, it's a flat black, it dries quick, it doesn't come up the paper, and it gives you the results you're looking for. And there we got a nice line. For me, I'd like to get all the block sanding and all the finish work done on the car before we get over to the new shop. This 70 Hemi Charger is going to be the very first car to christen the brand new AFC paint booth. It's a side downdraft booth. We can get it up to 180 degrees. It's got beautiful airflow. So beautiful booth, beautiful new shop, really great car, just going to equal perfection for Graveyard Carz. You got a nice clean line right down the middle. Isn't that nice? I'm finished with the 150, so I'll knock these down, do the same masking I did a minute ago, except I'll do it with 220 next, then I'll do it with 320. One thing I am gonna have to do before I start doing the 220 is just add a little bit of primer right to this section where there's bare metal. Now that the Hemi Charger is blocked to perfection, the most exciting time is here. We get to move into the new shop. It's 22,000 square feet of custom made the way I would build a shop if I had a choice, and this is the way I did it. We got everything moved in from ceiling to floor, parts rooms upstairs, production facilities for the show. Everything and everyone is now under one roof, and we are ready to go to work. One of my top priorities is getting the engine and the transmission installed in Mark and Elena's 1973-83 Cuda. I'm worried because it does have the Magnum force front suspension, which includes the K-member, and that always causes the potential for a mistake or something not going together. So I'm looking forward to getting it in there, but I'm not looking forward to the potential problems with aftermarket parts. With the new sense of urgency, I felt that it was important that we made some key changes to the crew at Graveyard Carz, and that's why our new folks are starting today.
Hey! This incredible story becomes more ghastly with each report. This incredible story becomes more ghastly with each report.
Today we're getting ready to put the 383 in the little 70 Cuda. That's the 383 that belonged to Mark and Elena. That car's been with us since pretty much the beginning of Graveyard Carz. It was in season 1. We're way overdue on it. Folks have been patient, but it's time to get that car done and back together again. So I just wanted to refresh your memory as to exactly what we did on this. I did not build the engine. Mark's friend built the engine. He's a beautiful technician. After the engine was built, he brought it down. We put it on the engine run stand. He played with it for most of the day, put all the little pieces on it so that it would fire up, and got it running like that. It runs beautiful. It's got a nice little bump stick cam in it. Holley rebuilt our carburetor. That's a 780 Holley on there right now, double pump, dual feed. It's a beautiful piece of equipment. The thing that'll jump out at our OEM folks at home that know that I do nothing but OEM restorations is some of the things on this car, including the suspension, including the window tinting, including the dynamat, those different things are not factory. But sometimes people want a car because they're gonna drive it. They love the spirit of the car or aren't necessarily hooked exactly on making sure that every number matches and everything's perfect. And that was the case with Mark. The modifications to the engine, primarily, I know that they bored it, balanced it, blueprinted it, put a larger cam in it. It's got roller rockers in it. The things that you see are the MT valve covers. Those were the Mickey Thompsons. That's what we had. That's what we used to call second day add-ons, meaning you bought the car on Monday, and by Tuesday you'd taken the valve covers off, the air cleaner off, the wheels and tires off, thrown them away, which now you spend big money for, and bolt on the aftermarket accessories, because you're going to the gut tonight, right? And the guy that pops the hood and has the most chrome and the most shine and the most cool, he's the one that gets to leave with the babe. Unless you were me, I always left with the babe anyway. I could drive up there on a moped and score. But that's not the point, and I don't think I should get extra points for that. But basically, organically, he's staying to the car. He's staying true to the car. It is a real Cuda. It was an original hockey stick stripe car. It was an original FE5 Rally Red. It was black interior, console shift, rally dash. So all those things are right. These are the kind of things that you could change if you wanted to. If he wanted to take the Magnum Force suspension out of it, he could do that. If he wanted to take the valve covers off the intake and put all factory looking stuff on it, he could certainly do that. So just walking around the engine, from here down, from the heads down, you see that it's the correct hemi orange, so that's good. Right now we've got a 4-speed bell housing bolted onto it, and that's only because it's the only way to start one on the engine run stand. We actually have the automatic transmission that also his friend built out for it, sitting over there and ready to go in. We've got the alternator for it that we need to plumb out, need to put the exhaust manifolds on it, need to take it up off of the engine run stand and put the original motor mounts on it. And that's gonna be one of the only things that I'm not sure of is I've never worked with the Magnum Force suspension before. And so I don't know if when I put these mounts on here with the rubber insulators at the bottom, in this case neoprene, if they're gonna line up or if I need another adapter. If it does, then all we do is move this back over to the other area, raise it up in the air, put the transmission in it, lower it down, and now we've got a car that just needs a little bit of plumbing and it's ready to run.
Hey, what are we working on today?
One of the newest additions to Graveyard Carz here at Welby's as well is my daughter Alyssa. She was with us back in season 1. I had brought her in to do some history and research on the car. She's gonna be my HR manager. I need to make sure that the history and the stories, like I shared earlier about people who leave their cars to their families, that we're extracting everything out of that, because the backstory of the car in some cases is as engaging as the car itself. Show me how that would go on that.
It's just...
Show me how that would go on there.
Okay.
Okay.
So we're gonna line it up, right?
Yeah, and that's if you want the exhaust to come out the front right over the top of the fuel pump and burn the car to the ground.
Oh, so this is wrong?
Yeah. So let's
Why
get
would
to
you
one.
set me up like that?
I just
you know
wanted
I
to
don't
see
know.
if you should know that. We built
Why would
cars
they do that
together
to
as
somebody?
kids.
It
You almost
literally
killed
matches.
him. You almost killed him. Okay. Now this would be the one for the passenger side, and we're going to want the exhaust to be away from the fuel, just as
So
a
not-
stroke of luck.
So not right there then?
Okay, but now you want to burn a hole in the hood, and I don't know why you wanted
why
to burn a
does
hole
this
in the
match up
hood.
so many different
This
ways?
is the exhaust. Right there, you had it coming up through their beautiful red painted hood. Now there would be a boiling at first, then a flame, then screaming, pandemonium, and certainly an insurance claim.
So basically the steam out of Tommy Boy?
So you're very, very close to a Tommy Boy.
Okay.
Now, why don't you flip that upside down? Okie dokie. Now we're cooking
This is
with gas.
upside down. Right?
Well, it's upside down from the way you had it. The wrench on it after that. Well,
Hey!
it's at 9:30. What does it mean to anybody but...
What's up?
Will Scott, he's back as my painter. When he came to work for me, he was fresh out of high school, just a babe in the woods, right? He came to me, I taught him how to do collision repair paint work, and he was phenomenal at it. So I taught you how to hold a gun, I taught you how to spray, I taught you how to mix, I taught you how to tint, I taught you how to do flash time. I mean, is there a part of painting that I didn't know about? Is it magic paint now?
I mean, you had a small hand in it.
No, I had the hand in it.
Not
I had
the
the
hand.
whole-
You had a small hand in it.
I had a huge hand in it because you wouldn't be standing there with your bizarrely egg-shaped head and your receding hairline and your itsy-bitsy little ears. Point being, could you maybe perhaps next time just get a little bit less dirt in it? Nice toes.
Nice ears.
Nice toes.
nose.
What
Look
are
at that.
those
Look
things?
At that. Look at that.
They're
It's
like
thin.
there's like 5 Twinkies on the end of each foot.
That's
with
why I
some
wear
kind of
socks
little
then.
thing. Well, you should wear something more than flip-flops. You're a
God,
painter.
you're fat.
Oh, look at you. Look at you. Yeah, big stretch mark.
Oh.
Well, now I'm at a point where I can't hardly go out there and paint the cars anymore. And I need somebody that I know has the basic skill level to come in and help me get these cars done. And that's what Will's doing here.
Okay. Hi, kids.
Hey.
Chromium dams! Royal's pretty savvy when it comes to the front end and brakes. He cut his teeth over at JCPenney Auto Center like me doing that kind of stuff. So when it comes to building out the brakes, the front suspension, the rear suspension, he's great at that. He's strong on the interior of the cars too, because he actually worked in an upholstery shop. So he can get right in there. He knows what pieces and provisions have to be in place before the headliner can go in and before the carpet can go in, before the dash goes in. He's good at building heater boxes, installing the dashes. He's not much on body and paint, but he never has really done it. He can assemble under the hood as good as anybody on the planet. He's good, he's fast. Again, he knows what wrenches to take with him. He's done so many of them. Royal knows because he was here before that we actually ran this engine on the engine run stand when Mark's friend was down.
Oh, uh-huh.
You still remember that, right?
Well, yeah.
Well,
why wouldn't I?
Yeah, I can't imagine. With the dramatic differences between the Cuda's suspension, I want to take the guys over to the two cars and point out what the intricate differences are in those suspensions and how that matters and how that makes the difference in how the car drives. A nameplate was installed on the dash pad of every 1970 to 74 E-body. This called out the model of the car. What did the Plymouth E-body nameplate read? Cuda, Plymouth, Barracuda. Stay tuned after the break for the answer.
This incredible story becomes more ghastly with each report.
So what did the nameplate call out on the dash pad of the Plymouth E-body? The answer is Barracuda. Whether you had a Cuda, a Barracuda, a convertible, a Hemi, a six-cylinder, any of them on the planet, your nameplate would have called out Barracuda.
This incredible story becomes more ghastly with each report.
While I have 100 things going on here, it's comforting to know that AMD's doing our Phantom Cuda for us. It takes a very skilled body man to install those panels, and I feel very good that our friends at AMD are doing that for us.
Sometimes the parts just don't profile 100%. The deck filler is extremely close, but to make a really nice car, I'm going to use a stretcher, and I'm going to stretch the back flange to put a little more curve, and it'll match the quarter panel a lot better. And you just kind of got to feel your way along where you're at. It won't take much. That's going to be solid money.
I can't wait to get the Phantom Cuda back. Very excited about seeing that. While AMD is working on it, I can start focusing on some of the cars that are around here. I want to get the engine and transmission put in the 70 Cuda. With the new team, I think it's important to take them over and show them the intricate differences between the aftermarket Magnum Force coilover suspension and the original integral steering with torsion bar suspension. The basic fundamental difference between the original integral style steering that comes on the Mopars that we're used to with torsion bar suspension and the Magnum Force is that the Magnum Force has a coilover shock, which takes a lot of the play out of the original torsion bar suspension because the torsion bar has to literally twist to hold the car up or to allow the wheel to move up into the cavity. The integral steering uses a steering box and I think about 8 to 10 different relays by the time it gets all the way out to the end of the spindles and removing things. The rack and pinion's very efficient. It has a rack that runs through it, it has a pinion gear that comes down through it, rack and pinion. You turn the wheel like that, it goes right, turn it the other way, it goes left. All it means is at the end of the day, you're going to have a better handling and a tighter steering car than you will with the old original Chrysler assembly stuff. Now that I've had a little bit of time to go over the intricate differences between the Magnum Force style coilover suspension and the original Mopar torsion bar suspension, we can get the Cuda ready to move over to the machine shop. So we need to take the hood off of it, get it moved over underneath the shop crane so we can install the 340.
You don't sneak up behind another man. It's weird.
Okay, let's lift this engine off of here as friends.
As friends?
Yeah.
What are you doing, Ariel?
I'm gonna they make a plate, a lifting plate that bolts on in place of the carburetor.
Okay.
That has 3 hooks in it where you can hook it with an engine puller.
This will be coming off next.
Only thing I've been trusted so far.
Well, why don't you come on over here and you can take this little radiator hose off. So that thing is
Ooh, are you
stuck.
sure?
Okay, who's done this? Why did this happen? I hear a Gregorian chant.
A Gregorian chant?
You know, when the things start
that?
burning?
What is wrong with you?
Does that go in from the...
Inside out, usually.
Okay. That's what I was...
That's what you was
trying to
remembering?
remember.
So we're putting this on it so that when we stick it in the car, is there like a part that this is gonna latch to, or
Yep.
will you show me?
This one goes right here. That bolt that is in
So
there.
this pull right here is gonna go through right
Yep,
there, and
through
then
there.
that's what the other side. Okay, and that's gonna keep it in the car.
I think that it's important for my daughter to learn the cars from a mechanical standpoint. She worked with me as a young girl, and now she's back. I want her to have her hands dirty. I want her to break a couple of nails. And I think it's a good skill set to teach anybody, especially, you know, my daughter. Okay, up. Good. Okay. Okay, go on down, slow, Will. That's not what I'd call slow.
Well, no, it's not optional. It's either up or down. So it's not like bunny rabbit.
Okay. Down a little more. Stop, crazy son of a...
Okay, it's only 1 speed. Backwards.
It's tough enough that Will's running this engine up and down like Bobo the circus monkey, but now we've actually got another problem, and that is that the oil pan is not clearing our K-member. That means problems. That means we either got a motor mount wrong or the cross member's wrong. Something is wrong.
Well, I think you're a dumb son of a... Put the motor mount on the back side. Mine's probably right.
No, yours is 1/2 inch off.
1/2 inch how?
It's back too far, same as those.
It is?
Yeah.
Looking at it, it looks to me like possibly the engine mounts, the OEM engine mounts, aren't lining up correctly with the aftermarket K-member. And what do you think I don't have in stock? We're an OEM restoration shop. I don't have aftermarket motor mounts in stock ready to go in.
Well, hey, it's a learning curve, you know. We've never done one of these before.
That's why I love my OEM stuff. Or listen to directions, I guess. I don't know. Crap.
This incredible story becomes more ghastly with each report. This incredible story becomes more ghastly with each report.
Okay, go ahead.
In 1900, the Dodge brothers had their own auto parts business. They supplied the majority of parts, except for the seats and the tires, for the Ford Motor Company. See, if I hadn't slurred Ford, it'd have been beautiful. My tongue should be on by a gorilla and forced to eat by a cheetah, or perhaps a piranha. You ever had a piranha eat your tongue full of
Yes.
you again, Aaron Smith, yes. It's like spraying on something.
Did you really just do that? You know, we should only film like before lunch, and then in the afternoon just be done. He just sprayed on it, like marked his territory. Yeah, like a cat.
I'm loving on my people. This is how I love my people. Michael, do you want some love?
I know.
You gotta relax and let the hate out and let the love. You want it? You want love?
This incredible story becomes more ghastly with each report. This incredible story becomes more ghastly with each report.
Down a little more. Stop, crazy son of a...
Okay, it's only 1 speed. Backwards.
Now we've actually got another problem, and that is that the oil pan is not clearing our K-member. That means problems. That means we either got a motor mount wrong or the cross member's wrong. Something is wrong.
Well, I think you're a dumb son of a... Put the motor mount on the back side. Mine's probably right.
No, yours is 1/2 inch off.
1/2 inch how?
It's back too far, same as those.
It is?
Yeah. Are those offset? Yep, they are. Well, hey, it's a learning curve, you know. We've never done one of these before.
That's why I love my OEM stuff. Or listen to directions, I guess. I don't know.
My knee-jerk reaction to the engine not fitting down on the Magnum 4 suspension was that we had a problem with the engine mount, so we're going to have some type of a modified mount. I don't think that's the case. What the problem is the owner installed the low-profile 6-quart 70 and 71, 440 and 426 hemi oil pan on the engine. So the deal with that is it allows 6-quart capacity, but it has a lower profile and the sump has moved forward in it. Because of that, that pan is hitting the crossmember when we try to drop the engine down onto the crossmember. So what I think is we change it back over to the original 402 5-quart oil pan that has the sump moved back and is a higher profile, and it should clear the Magnum Force suspension. Having the new parts room is a great example of us starting a new chapter at Graveyard Carz. In the past, we didn't have room for a parts room, let alone the organizational skills to be able to have the parts in stock. I love the idea that now we have a parts guy that's full-time. I can tell him what we want to stock in inventory and know in my mind when I need that part, I can walk upstairs instead of waiting 3 days and ordering a part from the other side of the country. I can walk upstairs, have it in my hand in 5 minutes and start working on it.
Hi, is this Robert? I'm doing good. This is Alyssa over at Graveyard Carz. How are you doing today?
While I'm working on solving the problem with the engine mounts for the 383, I sent Alyssa up to her office. We need a new body man, so I gave her a list of things that she needs to look for. We're looking for somebody with their own tools, have to be experienced and certified, and a good headshot.
So you have no work history. Do you have any experience on working on cars at all? I think my strangest call was probably the one that kept asking me if I was a narc or if I was the police. No. This is Alyssa over at Graveyard Carz. I'm not a cop. I'm not sure what a narc is. Sir. Goodbye. It was terrible. And then my dad decided to play a joke on me, so it honestly was just a waste of my time. Hi, is this James?
It's James.
What's your last name?
It's Gum. It's Gum. G-U-M-M. My mom was a crackhead. She couldn't spell my name, so I left the hospital with just James.
What's...
Hello, are you there?
Really? Really, Dad? You don't have better things to do? I have better things to do. What are you doing?
You know, I like to have fun. I'm a practical joker. I really didn't think I'd get that far. She's not reading the resumes like she should. Applicant's name, James Gum. And I misspelled James and Gum, okay? Just like in the movie. Place of residence, a hole in the ground. Favorite product, Jergens lotions. Okay, those should have all been, you know, favorite hobby, skin and women. I mean, you know what I'm saying?
I really didn't learn anything. Maybe don't put an ad on Craigslist. Yeah, there was a couple people that sent in some headshots that I thought were pretty good that my dad would be interested in.
Here's the thing, we need to have a sense of urgency around here, so for us to continue that sense of urgency and stay on track for the fast pace that we've set, we need to get the engine installed in the car today. Now that I've got it all scuffed down, all I have to do is use wax and grease remover to clean all the pieces and the parts to make sure that they're chemically ready to paint. After that, I'll walk in and mix up the original acrylic urethane Hemi Orange EV2 engine paint, which does not have the metallic in it like the actual car paint does. That is a single stage urethane, mix it up, catalyze it, and I'm ready to spray. What's nice about that?
What's that?
Painted and baked and dry in an hour.
I did paint it nice.
You didn't paint anything. That's what.
Why are you laughing?
No. No, I'm not gonna let you bring that side of me out, Will. I've decided.
Wait, Will.
No way.
Ruh-roh.
Crazy started. True or false? Dodge and Plymouth continued the NASCAR program in 1971 with the Dodge Charger and Plymouth Superbird. The answer coming up after the break.
This incredible story becomes more ghastly with each report.
So, did Dodge and Plymouth continue the NASCAR program in 1971 with the Charger and Superbird? The answer is false. The only NASCAR street versions of Mopars was the 1969 Daytona Charger and the 1970 Plymouth Superbird. However, Dodge did make a 3/8 scale of both of those cars in 1971 in preparation to be in NASCAR, but at the last minute, NASCAR had changed the rules.
This incredible story becomes more ghastly with each report.
While the 402 oil pan does cure our problem, it does require a different pickup tube, so I'm going to run over to the other shop. I actually have a scheduled conference call with AMD at the same time. With any luck, I can knock that out and find the correct pickup tube for the 383. Hey, is that little Mikey Gray? How you doing, buddy?
How are you today?
AMC's rule, man.
Oh yeah, I agree.
He's an AMC guy, so I got to kind of play to him. If it wasn't for Mopars, you wouldn't have anything to do, would you?
That's it, that's it.
Oh, there's the old Phantom car. Look at that.
Now that's the real thing.
There's the roof. Okay. Let me watch in on this.
It's starting to look like a car.
Boy, that's looking a lot. Wow, you got the quarters on?
A lot more than
Wheelhouse.
last time you saw it.
Upper deck filler. Boy, the quarter to roof line fit nice. Did you pre-fit it, or is this an initial fit?
It's been pre-fitted, but they've already got the quarters welded on it mostly.
Do the drip rails, they go on, they get sandwiched in between there? Are they already on?
Yeah, there's a lot of parts sandwiched in there at the roof.
Oh yeah, that's where a lot of them marry together. That's why you got to get that pinch weld so tight right there, because you're sandwiching 2 or 3 layers together. Hi, handsome Craig.
We're slaving down here.
Oh, you know, I'm busting.
And you're relaxing back there.
Now, what makes you say that?
Hey, we're having fun. The car's looking like a car. I'm happy.
Boy, the car's looking great. Wow. Craig and the guys are doing a phenomenal job on the Phantom Cuda. Absolutely beautiful. I don't think we'd do any better right here. There are just a few things that are very important, very critical that he preserve on the original 71 Phantom Cuda. Hey, Craig, did you do spot welds on the shock towers to apron?
Yeah, it's all done with the Pro Spot.
Beautiful.
Down the floor on the inside to the inner rocker.
Right. Look
all
at that.
Spot welded right through the torsion bar cross member. Turn back there, look at the frame rail.
Oh, wow. Now, how did you spot weld those?
Did it with the fender wells out. I mean, if you look up the sides, when you turn the camera this way, you can see we're spotted all the way through the car.
Absolutely. Yep.
Well, we worked our asses off to do it. Let's go to the back.
Oh, it looks great. I know how much goes into that. I've done it. I've been there. Look at that wheelhouse. Beautiful.
Now, the wheelhouse a little wide. We'll trim that.
You'll trim that, yep. See, me and Craig are talking like that. That's what we do, okay? Because this is, we're talking in a level rarely heard by humans.
Down here.
Huh?
It's also in the package, in the, you probably call it a Dutchman, deck filler, spotted underneath. And there's the gap on the door.
Look at that. Oh, that looks great.
So
almost looks like I did it.
We'll come through the car and we'll spot weld the roof to the quarter panel. The quarter's already spotted to the inner structure.
Right.
We'll run the spot welder down the drip rail.
Right.
Around the front and back glass aperture. That's the tub of the car.
Yeah. Wow. You've just fast forwarded us about 2 months. Thank you so much. The guys did a phenomenal job on the Phantom Cuda. I could not be happier. They did exactly the way we would do it right here. This car now has its shot at the title again. After 30 years, 3 decades of sitting, being forgotten, ignored, and kicked to the side, it's coming back to Graveyard Carz for its new life to begin.
Okay, big boy, we're going back to work.
Have fun. See you guys.
Good
Bye.
to talk to you.
All right, you too. Bye. As soon as I got off the phone with AMD, I got a call that they actually found a brand new pickup tube in stock at the new parts room. So I'm heading back over to the other shop right now so we can finish working on that 383.
This incredible story becomes more ghastly with each report. This incredible story becomes more ghastly with each report.
The guys at AMD did a phenomenal job on the Phantom Cuda. I could not be happier. They did exactly the way we would do it right here. It was such a help. This car now has its shot at the title again. After 30 years, 3 decades of sitting, being forgotten, ignored, and kicked to the side, it's coming back to Graveyard Carz for its new life to begin. While I was upstairs, I decided I'd stop by Alyssa's office and check in, see how she's doing on applications, see if she's got anything golden for me. Why is the desk up so high? What am I, Vern Troyer over here? Lower the desk down, talk to me.
These are awesome desks.
It's a power
by the way.
thing. Keep coming down.
Oh my God. Is that better there for you?
How are you liking it?
Looks good, I love it. I love the window.
Okay, what do you got in the way of resumes? Talk to me.
Okay, so I've got a few people. It's going pretty good. I had a few picked out for him. They all met the criteria that he was looking for, which was they needed to have their own tools, they needed to have their certification, they needed to have some experience. And then also he wanted a headshot.
0,
Why?
0. Well, for one, to be honest, way too happy. Way too happy. Nobody should be that happy. This is what you're down to right here?
I can show you the other people that applied, but I felt like these are the most qualified.
He's certified?
Yeah, but I don't think he has any of his own tools. That was the only thing. Dave was the one that caught his eye, which kind of surprised me. Turns out that I think that my dad, his most important criteria to meet was getting a headshot.
I like this guy.
The first guy though had...
There's a lot going on in this guy's head, and that's what I was trying to teach you before, is look for the signals that a person can put off to. You want to know why I do a headshot? This is why I do a headshot. I can tell from a person's look on their face. They say don't judge a book by a cover, but whoever said that never worked at Graveyard Carz and certainly never worked at Welby's Collision Center. Okay? That's your guy right there. Get him in. I like him.
I honestly think it was so that he could find the most ridiculous looking person so that he could make fun of them. But I mean, here's Dave and here's my dad. So.
I hope that the changes we made to the 383 allow the engine to go in and set in place. If they don't, it's going to set us back. And with the new regime, with the new protocol, and with the new movement of Graveyard Carz, we're not losing days anymore.
Hey, we're golden.
Don't believe it. The bald son of a
Hey. Who painted the oil pan?
Oh, I painted it.
You didn't want to get it covered?
It's covered beautifully.
Or do you want to look at this side?
Do you want to go to the manufacturer and see how they did it?
Yes, I do.
I think it's funny. I think it's kind of cute, you know, kind of endearing. Will, the student questioning the master. I mean, this is what I've done my whole life. He says I'm lazy because I missed a couple of spots in the oil pan. What he doesn't realize is when those engines were painted, the whole bottom of the oil pan had hardly any paint on them. The only thing that really made it to the very bottom plane were runs.
This looks exactly like you were too lazy to turn your gun the other way.
No, these were painted on an assembly line. They got the sides really good, but this back got a little bit
I wasn't
lazy.
Gonna say
That's
anything,
OEM, okay?
So
I'm sorry it's not a slam Chevy Love with a V8 in it
Well,
that you can relate to.
Never had it.
Okay.
Slam Chevy Love.
Well, this is OEM, baby. Okay, can we put the engine in?
We're waiting for you, boss.
Okay. All right. I'm sure got my fingers crossed that this is our problem. The thing about Mark and Elena's cars, we've had it way too long. They're wonderful people. They've been super patient. I've been patient from the standpoint of we added a lot of modifications that are outside my comfort zone. Those contribute to why we probably are behind as well. But the fact of the matter is, this engine needs to go in today.
Further?
Yep.
Go ahead.
And you can't be Bobo the Circus Monkey with that thing.
I don't know what the Bobo the Circus Monkey is.
Bobo the Circus Monkey.
Would you like
can't
me to
wait
lower
get
the motor?
Down, but yeah, I would
yes or
love
no?
you-
Yes or no?
I'd like
Yes
to
or no?
lower it.
Thank you.
Yes. At a human speed. There, I said
Okay, 2 speeds.
it. Okay. Yeah, click.
Up.
Click it up. Click it up.
Yeah, that's all it does.
Click.
Okay.
You just gone bananas.
No, it doesn't go. Do you see it going slower? Do you see like another option?
There's no rheostat, I understand that. But is your thumb made out of concrete? Does it just fall on it and you can't move it again after that? Okay, keep going. All right, we're doing good, guys. Now we're getting there. Down a little more, a little cheaper. A little more. Oh, look at that. A little bit more. So we're out of the woods on the install of the 383, set right down. We actually used the original motor mounts, which is really cool. So it was just a modification of the oil pan back to the original 402. Now that that's done, we can load it up on the Stringo, move it back over to the assembly shop, get it raised up on the bin pack, and install the freshly rebuilt 727 Torque Flight. That's just one step closer to having this drivetrain completed. I love that. Look at that jack. Is that awesome or what? Now, normally we don't have to do this. Normally it all goes in from the bottom, right? While we're installing the transmission in the 70 Cuda, I can't help but reflect back and think what a great week it's been. Got the final block work done on the 70 Hemi Charger. It's perfect. It will be the first car to christen the new AFC paint booth. Had an opportunity to call back to Auto Metal Direct and check in on our Phantom Cuda. Looking beautiful. So excited to see that car back in its EV2 Tour Red, that black shaker scoop setting on it. We're talking 108 of these cars made, and it's gonna be live and in person. We finally got moved into our brand new beautiful facility for Graveyard Carz and set the goal to install the engine in the 1970 Cuda. I brought my daughter back to do the history and the research on the vehicles, and my old painter, my old friend Will, is back to help out in the paint shop. What would Graveyard Carz be without my old buddy Royal? I showed the team the difference between the old original torsion bar suspension and integral steering and the brand new Magnum forced coil over rack and pinion steering. In spite of the setbacks that we had this week,
Stop, crazy son of a...
and the fact that Will can't seem to lower an engine down without just dropping it on top of the K-member, we're back on track. Our new parts room is unbelievable. I was able to find a 402 pan in a matter of minutes, get it scuffed, waxed and greased and painted and ready to go on the engine. In the old days, it would have took weeks to find the part before I could even start painting it. I'm really proud of the team this week. They did a phenomenal job. We got the 383 and the transmission installed in the 70 Cuda. Absolutely perfect. It's all buttoned up. All that's left is a few pieces to go on the car and it's ready to go down the road. That means it's time to update the progress board. I need a visual tool for the team, something they can look at on a day-by-day basis and keep up with exactly where we're at and exactly where we're heading.
The first car, 1970 Cuda.
When Mark and Elena's car first showed up, it was pretty much a basket case. There was no engine, no transmission to it. The car had been stripped or partially stripped at some point and painted with this horrible yellow primer. Parts were missing to it. We had a lot of stuff to piece together before we could even start worrying about doing the body and paint on it.
There it is, disassembled after it came back from the dipper. And this is with the basic body panels just getting started on it. This was with the paint laid out.
With the drivetrain installed on the 70 Cuda, there really isn't a whole lot left. We've got some interior pieces we need to finish up. We need to tidy up a few things under the hood, such as some bolt-on pieces that will go on, like the horns and the wiring, a few little things. But for the most part, the car's really ready to go. I think a week or so underneath the hood and inside the car, we'll have that car ready for the big reveal.
Next car is the 1970 Dodge Charger RT 426 Hemi 4-speed A34 Super Track Pack in an FK5. This one happens to have a black top V1X.
When the 1970 Hemi Charger showed up, it was pretty rusty. That was its biggest problem. It was a very complete car, well inventoried. The guy that took it apart did a phenomenal job of marking and labeling everything. Kudos to him. But it was a rusty car and it needed everything. That was our job, is to get it completely disassembled up to the dipper and hope that when it came back, there was some metal left. There was, and we went on to where we are today.
Here's the engine on the engine stand with the transmission built out behind it. Everything's detailed correctly. Remember, we've ran this engine on the engine run stand. It runs beautiful. The drivetrain is completely done, including the Dana rear end, and ready to assemble in the car if and when you can ever get it painted. Just kidding.
Are you kidding?
Are you?
So now we still have a little bit of wet sanding and buffing to do on the car, and then the final assembly. The Toro Red 70 Cuda original rear window louver car was very, very rusty. We ended up replacing literally every panel that you could imagine except for the cowl and the firewall and a couple of the frame rails. Everything else on the car was so rotten, it had to be replaced. After doing that, it went right through the body shop, right through the paint shop, came out a beautiful Toro Red EV2. Partial assembly is done, the engine is done, the transmission is done, they are installed. It's a little bit further away than our red Cuda, but not by a whole lot. About 2 weeks in the interior, about another week underneath the hood, a little bit of undercarriage button up, and that car will also be ready to leave Graveyard Carz.
Okay, here's the assembly. There's the engine and transmission, power brake system all installed in the car.
I think this progress board is a great tool for us to come together as a team, as well as be able to project the next 12, 14, 16, 18, 20 cars that are gonna go through. That you see now is just the tip of the iceberg. We got to line up Bill Goldberg's 1968 Plymouth GTX 444-speed convertible car, the 69 Hemi Roadrunner in factory turquoise. We've got the Tribute 1971 Cuda 446-barrel 4-speed car. We've got Garth's 1970 Dodge Challenger RT 446-pack 4-speed car. We have cars on top of cars on top of cars.
Next time on Graveyard Carz, Mark paints the burnt orange Hemi Charger. AMD delivers the Phantom Cuda. And the ghouls rush to complete the Daily's 1970 383 Cuda. Coming up next time on Graveyard Carz.